slow start, just could not be stopped. The man on the call, Greg Papa, as he joins us each and every Friday. Niners at 9 here. Greg, Jason Ross with you. How are you, Greg?
Good morning, Jason. A little bit worn out after that performance, and that was Steve-O's third, and the blocking on that play was just incredible. The entire offensive line, it's supposed to be a tunnel screen where you have, Trent gets out there and the wide receivers get out there, but they all got out. Even the right guard, Spencer Burford, was able to get out in space and make that block. The only guy that didn't get there was McKivitz. He was a fan blocker going the other way, so just the unselfish nature of this team. You got 9 guys blocking on every single play. The only guy that doesn't block is the guy with the ball in his hands and Brock Purdy. The other 9 guys are all blocking for each other. It's just amazing.
Yeah, and what I really appreciated about the game is, look, the Niners talk the talk, really. I mean, about this. They wanted this game. They, circled the calendar, I'm sure, like, look, we can't wait for the Eagles. They backed it up. I mean, I think after those first 2 series and the defense kept them in, and then when that offense got going, I mean, they just destroyed Philadelphia. And so for them to back it up, Greg, while waiting and wanting this game, I thought said a lot about the 49ers.
Without a doubt. I mean, after the first quarter got a little sideways, they scored touchdowns on 6 consecutive possessions. And they haven't done that since 1992. Wow. And there were long drives, 85 yards, 90 yards, 75 yards, 77 yards, 75 yards. The one at the end was on an onside kick. It was just 48 yards, the Debo one, and that was a 2-play drive. So they completely annihilated that team in every regard, in the way they rushed Jalen Hurts and shut down the running game. And the receivers had big statistical games, A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith, Jace, but they really shut that down too as far as staying on top of them. But all that being said, Philadelphia was worn out. They had played 92 defensive snaps the previous week against Buffalo. The game went into overtime, so it was 67 minutes and 23 seconds of grueling football in the rain. They were worn out. They were in the middle of a really bad stretch of games. We'll see how they do in Dallas on Sunday, if they can get their legs back. This game's on Sunday this week completely different, because Seattle has not played since Thanksgiving night when they played us. They played the next Thursday after that in Dallas. So they're going to be coming in like the Niners did in Philly with 10 days of rest, and Seattle's going to be a desperate football team. They've lost 3 in a row. Pete Carroll's never lost 4 in a row. So they're going to be obviously geeked up for this game. So I think there were so many factors that led to the Niners just rolling them in the game. Now, the Niners are that good, but I think Philadelphia is better than what they showed on Sunday.
Yeah, and one other part of that game that I thought was not necessarily a turning point, but could have been, was, the Niners were starting to get into that rhythm. They're scoring, as you said, they're maybe halfway through the 6 scoring drives, maybe 3 in, and it's 21-13. And, at some point, then you get that emotional moment with Greenlaw and, their security guy, Dom. Like, it felt like, and you were there, did it feel like there was a crowd sense, like, okay, this could be where the game could turn? Did you feel that? Was it palpable there?
Totally. That's where the game got going, was that sideline play to Devontae, and Trey made a mistake. I lifted him up and trying to suplex him, and he did lighten up on him. He didn't slam him to the ground. He really could have hurt him. Devontae Smith weighs 170 pounds. I mean, he's more of an NBA 2-guard than he is a NFL wide receiver. But he, or even 2 guards aren't that light, really. But anyway, and it just got out of hand. Dom and my brother knew Dom in Philadelphia for a long time. He was standing right there, and he overreacted because the play was right in front of him. But overall, he's a good guy. But it got insane when the tempers got going, and they both got run, and the link was lit. I mean, you could feel it. Then they get down to the scoring area. The Niners held him on first down on the brotherly shove. I thought they quietly did something really creative on that, coming around from the backside and grabbing Jalen in a horse collar. Chase Young did, which is something to note if we do play that team again on January 28th on Championship Sunday. But when they scored, it was on. That's why that next drive was really the critical one, to be able to answer them with another touchdown. And that was the play where Debo broke a tackle and was able to run in the end zone for a touchdown. So that play was really huge. And he had so many amazing runs in the game. But that 48-yard touchdown run, and they had him at a little bit over 20 miles per hour, the same speed that he had basically on the end around touchdown, his first one. But I don't think I've ever seen Debo run faster than that. He broke one tackle with Nicholas Morrow, the linebacker, right in the middle of the field, and then he accelerated so fast. He ran by everybody. He ran by Bradbury, ran by Slay. Great block by Kittle to get him in the end zone over Slay at the end. But you're exactly right. After that sideline dust up and them getting it on the brotherly shove, it was on. And then Debo quickly silenced them with that dash.
So now, as you get to this week, you brought up Seattle. They've had some time to get ready for this game. I look back at the Thanksgiving game. The Niners ended up winning that one, but there was a moment in that game too where the Niners are in control. You get to late third, early fourth. Seattle kind of controlled the third quarter. They had a window of really making that interesting. So how do you anticipate this one being back at home for the Niners going on Sunday?
Well, they're going to be desperate, and you're right. The first half of the Seattle game on Thanksgiving night was as dominant as the Niners have been. I know Dallas and the Philadelphia games. Dallas the first three quarters, then they kind of called off the dogs in the fourth quarter. The Philly game, it was the last three quarters because they started slowly the first quarter. But as far as two quarters, the Seattle game on Thanksgiving night, they didn't let those guys breathe. It was an assault. And then Brock changed the play, the can call, the double can call to let the up against the goal line. And he threw a pick six to Jordan Brooks. Brooks probably won't play in this game. He's got an ankle injury. But the key thing, I think, this week is they're going to get Kenneth Walker, the third back, K9, their great running back. And he actually won the Offensive Rookie of the Year, or finished second Offensive Rookie of the Year last year. Garrett Wilson won it in New York with the Jets. But he finished ahead of Brock. He was second and Brock was third. And he had a great year last year. He rushed for 1,000 yards. We didn't see him on Thanksgiving night. The week before their loss to the Rams at SoFi, he went out in the first quarter with an oblique. So I think he's coming back in this game. The Niners are thinking he's going to come back. They may have Charbonnet, the other back too, the rookie out of UCLA. He's got a bruised knee, but Charbonnet's more of a downhill pounder. K9, they call him in Seattle, Kenneth Walker the third, because he wears number 9. He is electrifying. He's a home run hitter. He's a jump cutter. He slips in and out of tackles smoothly, and then he can take it to the house. So I think that's going to be their major change, is the offense getting a boost from K9. They played better. The week after game, the Thursday night game against Dallas, it'll be 10 nights before the game on Sunday. They scored 35 points in that game. How often do you score 35 and lose the game? So they're having problems on defense. But on offense, they can be explosive. And we'll see the matchup. I think it's Charvarius Ward following DK around. But the main thing they're going to bring is this is a desperate team. When October ended, when the Niners went into their bye week, Seattle was in first place in the NFC West. They were ahead of the Niners. And they went to Baltimore when the Niners were on their bye, and they got rolled. They gave up like 298 yards rushing. And they've not been the same team. They barely beat Washington at home with a bunch of field goals, but they've lost 3 in a row. I don't think Pete's ever lost 4 in a row in the NFL. So if they lose this game, Jace, then they got a home game with Philadelphia on Monday Night Football the week after. I mean, right now their season is slipping away. The way the Rams are playing, the way Green Bay is playing, the Seahawks may not make the playoffs this year if they lose this game Sunday.
Yeah, and for them, I know the Niners probably have bigger things in mind as far as winning the NFC overall and trying to get that top seed, but you still got to take care of the NFC West. A win this week it feels like that it would basically wrap that up. I know they still play the Rams one more time, but the Niners are in such good position division-wise, and now you're trying to really chase that 1 seed, and I think that's such a huge advantage, Greg, if they could do that. Getting one less game, being at home, how critical to their overall success do you think it is to get the 1 seed?
Well, I think that's the goal. They haven't publicly stated that, but I think that is the goal. But first, you got to win the division. And we kind of thought when this 3-game stretch started at Seattle on Thanksgiving, at Philadelphia, home to Seattle, if the Niners won all 3, I thought you're going to wrap up the NFC West with a win over Seattle. But because the Rams have won 3 in a row, the Rams are 6-6. So if the Niners win this game Sunday, I think they eliminate Seattle from winning the NFC West, but they don't eliminate the Rams. Now, the Rams got Baltimore earlier in the day, and I had our PR staff run all the permutations, but it's not. I thought if the Rams lost before our game, would we be able to wrap up the West in the afternoon? That's not the case. It's going to come down to later in the year. But assuming they win the NFC West, that'll be what you first set out to do to win the division. But they want to be the 1 seed. But the reality, Chase, even if Philadelphia loses to Dallas on Sunday, Philadelphia, the Niners would move ahead of them. There's no doubt. But Philadelphia has a lot of winnable games. Will they go to Lumen Field and beat Seattle on Monday Night Football? They could run the table. Even if they lose to Dallas on Sunday, it's conceivable Philadelphia runs the table at Seattle, and they have home games with the Giants in Arizona. Then they go to the Giants. Now, Giants are a division team. That could be tricky, but if they do win their last 4, are the Niners going to run the table? They did last year, but the one game I'm looking at, obviously, is a very tough game. Will be the Christmas night game against Baltimore. And then even the Arizona game after the Seattle game, Arizona's going to have their bye week, and they're before they play the Niners. So they're going to be rested. They're playing better. They got Connor back. They beat Pittsburgh last week. So, yes, you want to be the 1 seed, but I think there's what the win in Philadelphia did was give you a chance to be the 1.
Yeah.
If you had lost that game, it would have been almost impossible to catch Philadelphia. Now, and I think this is good for football, because the Niner game, and they're going to have Kevin Burkhardt and Greg Olson on that game. It's the big Fox game, Aaron Andrews and Tom Rinaldi. And then the Sunday night game is going to be Philadelphia. And then a week after, they flex Philadelphia into Monday Night Football. So it just makes the battle for the number 1 seed in the NFC all that more important. And ultimately, that may decide who goes to the Super Bowl and wins the Super Bowl. But really, that was the talking point going into the game last week in Philly. But as we were pulling away from Lincoln Financial Field, the way the Niners played that game, I think the guys feel with full confidence, if we do have to go back in here and play them on January the 28th, it may not go exactly the same, and you're going to have to change the game plan and how you rush Jalen a little bit. They know now he's going to get that mush rush, so they'll be ready for it. But I think this team is very confident, as long as they stay healthy between then and now, and then throughout that game, that even if they have to go to South Philly to play that game, they can beat these Eagles.
Talk with Greg Papa here on the Folsom Lake Honda Hotline. Greg, as far as health-wise, is Armstead expected to go this week?
No, I think the feeling is he will miss this game, and then he may miss the Arizona game. I think it'd be great to get him back on Christmas. So he's got a little something going on with his knee, but and he got hurt on the second play of the game in Philadelphia. So he played as many snaps. I think it was 37 that he could get through that game. But they're deep at D-line. I think Javon Kinlaw will start, and then you've got Kevin Givens rotating up behind. Obviously, you've got Davon Hargrave. Then you got Khalil Davis, who had his first NFL sack last week. He could certainly rotate in. It's possible they bring Ty McGill up from the practice squad. He's still there. I don't know if they have to do that. They have guys that play in that could move inside, like Randy Gregory is a guy a lot like Arden Key used to, or Charles Omenihu. They can move an end inside. They can move Chase Young inside. Chase has played some snaps next to Bosa. Those Buckeye bookends have gone inside with the Buckeye blitz, whether they're standing up or whether they're down in 3 and 4 point stances. So I don't think Armstead will go Sunday. Then you look to make Arizona. The key thing would be to get him back for that Baltimore game.
All right, last one for you on this. It's a good spot the Niners are in where they're playing, that they've got candidates. If you were picking a league MVP, are you leaning, maybe it's a non-Niner, but if it's a Niner, are you leaning McCaffrey or Purdy in that case?
Wow, that's really an impossible. It's impossible. It's like saying which one of my children do I love the most.
They're both so important.
Well, I got 5 kids, so I'd give them 20% each.
Yeah.
It's the epicenter of this offense, and the crisis point is McCaffrey on the handoff and whether or not Brock gives it to him or pulls it and they run the keep boot game. That's where you get into a conflict. If you're Bobby Wagner of the Seahawks, and Bobby Wagner is a first ballot Hall of Famer, but you're watching that handoff, and if you are one step late to get to McCaffrey, you're cooked, whether it's on the outside zone going play side or the cutback or inside run or anything. But if you step up too far, like one step, and you think he's going to take it on the run, then they're going to get behind you, whether it's McCaffrey himself or a Debo dig or an Ayuk slant or Kittle over the middle or name the poison. You're going to get arsenic. I mean, it's just so that to me is the balance of the football team and how unselfish they are. And the numbers are some of the numbers on this team. If you looked at their pass receptions leaders for the team, McCaffrey leads with 51. Ayuk has 50. Kittle has 50. I mean, it's unbelievable. And then you got Ayuk, is going to get 1,000 yards this week. McCaffrey's got 1,000 yards rushing. And, Debo's got 38 receptions, but he missed essentially 3 games.
Mm-hmm.
Two full games, and he got hurt the first play of the game in Cleveland. So the balance on the way they do it. So I don't look at it that way. It would be to me, McCaffrey is the most essential. But if you lose Brock, you lost the quarterback. So I can't even go there. What I would say is the fact that there's 2 guys, and even I'm grappling with picking one. I can't pick who the Niner MVP is. So I think when the voters, and there's 50 voters for the AP Most Valuable Player Award. It's nobody in the Bay Area gets a vote. It's all national people. There may be some people based in the Bay Area nationally, but it's not like one of the Niner beat writers get a vote and one in every of the 32 cities, and you pick 18 national guys. It's all national voters. And I just think my own thought is because McCaffrey's such a strong candidate, Jason, he will take some votes away from Brock. And the way they vote, it's like the NBA MVP. It's not just one guy. You vote, I'm not even sure, is it top 3, top 5? You vote for multiple guys and you slot them. First place, second place, third place. And they vote them all up. They add them all up. And then I don't know if you get these NFL research packets. I get them every week. There's just always a chunk in there about the Niners, the 3-game losing streak without Trent Williams and without Debo Samuel. And how the Niners scored exactly 17 points in the 3 games. When those guys were all there, they're averaging way over 30, and they haven't lost. So I just feel like there's a national narrative to not give the award to Brock, that he's got too many stars on this team. He can't even pick the MVP on his own team. It could be McCaffrey, and Christian may take some of those votes away. And he didn't rise his team above it during the losing streak because they didn't have Debo and they didn't have Trent. And when he's only good when he has all his weapons. Now, we all know how ridiculous all that is, and it's the ultimate team sport. But I just get a vibe that Brock will finish in the top 3. But I don't know who they'll pick. Maybe it's the winner of this game Sunday night between Hurts and Dak. Maybe it's Tyreek Hill in Miami if they're the 1 seed. What if Tyreek goes for 2,000 yards? Could a wide receiver win the award for the first time ever? Jerry Rice never won that award. He won Offensive Players of the Year, Super Bowl MVPs, but he never won the league MVP. No wide receiver ever has. So it's hard for me to vote because McCaffrey's so damn good, but Brock is big brain Brock, and he makes it all work. But I don't know. I just get a feeling as though, although Brock is worthy in a lot, I mean, look at the numbers. And if you're to me, you can't vote a quarterback over him. If you want to vote maybe Tyreek, then that's a different argument.
Yeah.
But I just get the feeling that America is just not ready to give the league most valuable player award to the guy they still deem, for whatever ridiculous reason, to be Mr. Irrelevant.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be, maybe the last couple of weeks will dictate that. It's good that the Niners have a couple of candidates in the way they played last week. Let's hope there's more of the same. Greg, we always appreciate catching up with you. Have a great call this week, and we look forward to talking to you next Friday.
See, I always thought Dave was the MVP of this show, but hell, we don't need Dave. You just keep winning.
Exactly.
Dave. It's unbelievable.
That's right.
It's unbelievable.
I want my votes
He's
too.
Very overrated. Overrated. Overrated.
Yes. Oh my goodness! Thank you so much, Greg. You've given us a drop forever.
All right.
Thank you very much.
You're going to get mad at me next week when he comes back.
We'll see.
Yeah, it's all right. All right.
Thanks, Greg.
Be good, brother. Thanks, dude.
All right. That's the great Greg Papa joining us there. We appreciate him as always. And you'll get a chance to hear Greg this weekend, him and Tim Ryan, Sunday, right here on Sactown Sports. Chris, I know you're going to cut that up. That's for sure. All right. So, again, thank you to Greg Papa. This weekend, besides the 49ers game and the Seahawks,